The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. In F. Scott Fitzgerald's classic novel, The Great Gatsby, we are transported to the summer of 1922, where the vibrant and glittering world of 1920s New York serves as the backdrop for a tale of love, ambition, and the elusive American dream. Through the eyes of Nick Carraway, a young man from Minnesota seeking his fortune in the bond business, we are introduced to a cast of captivating characters whose lives intersect in unexpected ways. From the mysterious millionaire Jay Gatsby, whose lavish parties conceal a deep longing for a lost love, to the privileged yet troubled Buchanan couple and the enigmatic Jordan Baker, the narrative unfolds with all the intrigue and glamour of the jazz age. Against the backdrop of roaring parties and opulent mansions, The Great Gatsby explores the complexities of desire, disillusionment, and the relentless pursuit of happiness in a society consumed by excess and ambition. A young guy named Nick Carraway, who hails from Minnesota, relocates to New York during the summer of 1922 in order to get knowledge about the bond industry. The West Egg neighborhood of Long Island is a prosperous but unfashionable neighborhood that is occupied by the new rich. The new rich are those who have gained their fortunes too recently to have formed social connections and who are prone to displaying their money in a flashy manner. He rents a property in this neighborhood. In the neighborhood of West Egg, Nick's next-door neighbor is a mystery individual by the name of Jay Gatsby. He resides in a massive Gothic home and hosts spectacular parties every Saturday night. Nick is not like the other people who live in West Egg because he received his education at Yale and has social connections in East Egg, which is a prestigious neighborhood on Long Island that is home to more established members of the upper class. On a certain evening, Nick makes the trip to East Egg in order to have dinner with his cousin Daisy Buchanan and her husband Tom, who was a former classmate of Nick's at Yale. Daisy and Tom are the ones who introduce Nick to Jordan Baker, a young woman who is both gorgeous and cynical. Nick begins a romantic involvement with Jordan shortly after. In addition, Nick is given some information regarding the marriage between Daisy and Tom. Jordan reveals to Nick that Tom has a mistress named Myrtle Wilson, who resides in the Valley of Ashes, which is a gray industrial dumping area located between West Egg and New York City. Nick, Tom, and Myrtle embark on a trip to New York City not too much longer after this revelation has been made. During a vulgar and extravagant party that takes place in the apartment that Tom keeps for the affair, Myrtle starts to tease Tom about Daisy. Tom's response is to break her nose. Over the course of the summer, Nick is eventually able to secure an invitation to attend one of Gatsby's internationally renowned parties. At the party, he comes upon Jordan Baker, and the two of them meet Gatsby himself. Gatsby is a remarkably youthful man who has a fantastic grin, speaks with an English accent, and refers to everyone as old sport. Gatsby makes a request to speak with Jordan alone, and via Jordan, Nick eventually acquires additional information regarding his enigmatic neighbor. Jordan is informed by Gatsby that he was acquainted with Daisy in Louisville in 1917 and that he is much in love with Diana. Numerous evenings are spent by him staring at the green light that is located at the end of her dock, which is located across the bay from his mansion. The wild parties and expensive lifestyle that Gatsby prefers to lead are nothing more than an attempt to impress Daisy. Currently, Gatsby is requesting that Nick make arrangements for a reunion between himself and Daisy. Nevertheless, he is concerned that Daisy may refuse to see him if she is aware that he is still in love with her. Nick extends an invitation to Daisy to share a cup of tea at his residence, but he does not inform her that Gatsby would also be present. Gatsby and Daisy are able to repair their bond after an initially unpleasant period of time spent together. After their love was reignited, they started having an affair. Tom begins to get a growing sense of mistrust regarding his wife's relationship with Gatsby after a little period of time pass. During a luncheon at the Buchanan's home, Gatsby gazes at Daisy with such undeniable ardor that Tom comes to the conclusion that Gatsby is in love with Daisy. Tom is genuinely upset by the possibility that his wife may be disloyal to him, despite the fact that he is himself participating in an affair outside of his marriage. After compelling the group to travel to New York City, he confronts Gatsby in a suite at the Plaza Hotel. He does this by forcing them to drive there. Tom states that he and Daisy have a history that Gatsby would never be able to comprehend, and he also declares to his wife that Gatsby is a criminal, and that his income originates from the unlawful purchase and sale of alcoholic beverages as well as other illegal acts. Daisy comes to the realization that her loyalty lies with Tom, and Tom sends her back to East Egg with Gatsby in an attempt to demonstrate that Gatsby is incapable of causing him harm after Daisy's realization. On the other hand, when Nick, Jordan, and Tom are driving through the Valley of Ashes, they find out that Gatsby's automobile has hit and murdered Myrtle, who was Tom's lover. They made a hasty return to Long Island, where Nick was informed by Gatsby that Daisy was the driver of the vehicle that collided with Myrtle, but that Gatsby plans to accept responsibility for the incident. The following day, Tom reveals to George, Myrtle's husband, that Gatsby was the one who was behind the wheel of the vehicle. George, who has jumped to the conclusion that the person who was driving the automobile that murdered Myrtle must have been her boyfriend, discovers Gatsby in the pool at his estate and shoots him to death. After that, he takes his own life by shooting himself. Nick throws a modest burial for Gatsby, breaks off his relationship with Jordan, and relocates to the Midwest in order to get away from the disdain he has for the individuals who were involved in Gatsby's life, as well as the emptiness and moral degradation that he sees in the lives of the wealthy on the East Coast. Nick contemplates the fact that, in the same way that Gatsby's fantasy of Daisy was tainted by money and dishonesty, the American goal of happiness and autonomy has been crumbled into the pursuit of fortune. Nick focuses on the fact that the era of dreaming, which includes both Gatsby's dream and the American dream, has already come to an end. This is despite the fact that Gatsby's ability to turn his dreams into reality is what makes him great. In the emotional conclusion of F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, we are left with a sobering reflection on the elusive nature of the American dream and the consequences of its pursuit. Through the eyes of Nick Carraway, we witness the tragic downfall of Jay Gatsby, whose relentless quest for love and acceptance ultimately leads to his demise. As the glittering facade of 1920s New York crumbles, we are confronted with the stark realities of wealth, excess, and moral decay. Among the wealthy parties and extravagant lifestyles, Fitzgerald's narrative serves as a cautionary tale about the emptiness of materialism and the fleeting nature of success. Gatsby's story reminds us that true happiness cannot be found in wealth or status alone, but in genuine human connections and inner fulfillment. As Nick bids farewell to the world of East Coast privilege and returns to the simplicity of the Midwest, we are reminded of the importance of authenticity and integrity in the pursuit of happiness. The Great Gatsby serves as a timeless reminder that while the allure of the American dream may be captivating, its realization often comes at a profound cost. In the end, it is not wealth or status that defines us, but the depth of our relationships and the sincerity of our aspirations. If you like to listen to the full version of the book, please see the links below.